All right. Good evening once again. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Can you still explain at least one thing we learned in our last section?
Yeah, we learn about the computer is used for creating ID and the creating of offline.
Offline. I don't think I get you right. Was just explain. Are you talking about the installation of the application
Yes, installation
of
of
the
application.
Excel, right? Where I said
Yeah,
that there are two ways you can install it. Either you install it offline, that is on your local machine, or you install it on um, the cloud, which is also known as the remotes, right? And I could remember that after that, we have also looked at how to launch it on the system once you have installed it. Am I correct?
well, the network was bad that day, so couldn't. We were
No.
talking that it's okay, we should call. So you are not, the network is too bad.
What I'm saying that before the network, at least we exceeded that level of loading it. What I'm saying is that how I got to the environment I'm showing on the screen, you should have understood this one because I know we did this several times. If you are journeying with your system, have you launched your Excel? Have you opened it
Let's use
just
my
like
system.
good? So how did you open it? Which means you know how to open it. That is what I want to confirm because I've
Okay,
already
okay.
opened it before we are starting. So I needed to know if you still
Mm.
remember how we got to the environment. So what I'm going to do is to quickly walk us through the Excel interface once again before we go into uh, the data entry. So I was explaining in that class that all application or every application software provide us an interface for managing them. So for you as an application user to be able to communicate with an app, in other words, for you to be able to use that app, you need to be familiar with that application interface. So there is what we call application user interface. That is what we usually refer to as UI. That is what application user
Application
interface.
in
User
application
interface. User interface.
user interface.
Okay, so um, the work of this, when we say application user interface, we are referring to the environments provided by that application. Just like we can see on the screen, this is Microsoft Excel user interface. In other words, for you to operate Microsoft Excel, you need to be familiar with this interface. So this is Excel user interface. So it is this
Interface.
user interface that I want to briefly explain before we go into data entry. So like I was saying, that all application software gives us an interface for us to be able to manage them. So as a beginner like this, the first thing you should master is familiarizing yourself with the application interface. So you should be able to know what are all these alphabetical label. You should be able to know what are all these numerical label. You should be able to identify all the necessary or basic features that makes up Microsoft Excel interface, and that is what I want to quickly achieve first. And the purpose of you understanding the structure of the application interface, which is Excel, is for you to develop some confidence whenever you are working on the application. So let me start by identifying the very first part, which I'm very sure that I have covered in the last class, but since the network wasn't friendly, I want to paraphrase on some of them. So the whole of this section, I'm navigating starting from this icon down to where you have this button. It is referred to as the application title bar. Application title bar, title bar. So that is a description of the whole of this section. So our responsibility as users of this app is for us to understand what is this particular part which we just identify as the title bar does. What is the major function of it? Okay, so let me start by saying that the application title bar provides where you can view the name of the worksheets you are currently working on. So let me use the name of the workbook, because individually, like this, for example, this is worksheet, this is sheet 1. If I click on this plus sign, this is sheet 2. So I'm able to add additional sheets. So you can say sheet 2. So anytime you click on this plus icon, it represents add a new sheet. Now, the combination of the record in sheet 1 plus the record in sheet 2 plus the record in sheet 3 and sheet 4 will now give us what we call the workbook. Okay, so when they are, or let's say when they are referred to individual, we refer to them as the worksheet. So there's difference between worksheets and the workbook. That is what I just explained now. I hope you get that.
Yeah.
So the difference, yes,
and workbook.
Yeah, individual like this, they are called sheets, worksheets. Adding all of them together gives us what? Workbook. Okay, now I only make reference to it because I'm still coming back to talk about the workbook properly. So the objective of this particular section is for us to be familiar with the entire Excel environment before we commence entry and manipulating value within it. So like I was saying, the whole of this section is the application title bar. So this is where you can project the name of the workbook. In other words, this is just one book comprising 4 sheets. So all the record that you must have computed inside this sheet, they will be saved as one file, that once you open that file, before you can access the record under the sheet. So how do you save it? Because by default, Excel has already named it book 2. Excel has already named it book 2. So you are expected to know how to personalize this particular workbook according to the record or the data you intend to collect with it. For example, if my intention is to track my sales inventory or to track my expenses, then the name of the workbook should have a way of describing the type of value or data the worksheet is holding. So how do we change it? How do we save our workbook before we start even entering our value? You go to File, and then from File, because you are saving for the very first time, where you need to assign a unique name, which is just like an identifier, a name that differentiates this particular file or data from other within the same storage. So you go through what? Save as, because you are saving for the first time. So
Save
all you will
as.
need to do is to say save as, let's say Prosper, save as, sales inventory. So that is why we use save as for first time saving. So once you click on it, you need to know as a computer user that there are several units or places where you can actually save your data within the computer. So we have the external storage and then we have the internal storage. So it's within you to ascertain where exactly within the system do I want to save my work. It's the responsibility of every computer user to know where his or she is saving his or her data. Is very important. So the moment you click on the save as, the computer prompted different possible storages within the system. So you are to choose based on prioritizing security. Okay, despite that the computer has made available for us some folders and some other places, we need to examine their security strengths. So we don't just save a file within the system anyhow. If I am going to choose desktop, as an expert, I am supposed to have asked myself, is this desktop secure enough, particularly if the data I am saving is a confidential data? So these are questions you need to ask yourself to know whether you are to consider desktop as your storage or documents as your storage. I hope you are following, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, usually I don't recommend students to start by learning with these displayed storages, because these ones are displayed because they are recently used storage. They are recently used storage. So you are expected to go through browse. So the term browse in computing, meaning you want to reach out to a different unit, a different storage that is not within this displayed list. So for example, let's assume that the desktop is not displayed here, probably because you have not saved anything in your desktop for some time. So you are supposed to browse it through that tab. And then once you click on it, the computer will prompt you a dialog box. The dialog box in computing means an interface that presents to you multiple options, out of which you are expected to choose one. So why this dialog box is called the computer storage dialog box, which means that this is where you can choose where exactly you want to store your data. So I can choose I want to store on desktop or document, or if you even have a folder created under any of these main storages, you can, after you have activated like this, then you go to the folder you want to save. But just because we are just learning, let me just choose desktop. But in a real sense, an expert is not supposed to save his or her sensitive or confidential data on desktop, because once your computer finish booting, everybody have access to what you have on the desktop. So a way of hiding your data a little bit is that you consider what? Document. So once you are in document, you can decide to save in the document directory without saving it in a folder that exists within the document directory. But if you want to go more professional, I will advise that you still create a folder within that document and save the data in the folder. For example, we are in the document, and let me show you how you can easily know the storage directory you are in as an expert. What you need to do now, as we are currently selecting document, you will always see the URL, in other words, the address that shows where you are. So this PC, after this PC, you have document. Now, if I click on desktop, I want you to take note of what happens here. You will notice that it will update to desktop. So that is how you can easily know the exact storage or directory you are in before you go ahead to save. Now, in this directory, you will notice that we have some folders created already. And then if you scroll down, you will also find some files that are stored directly in the document directory. Now, this is where let's assume that you want to create your own folder. In other words, your folder is not here. You want to create a folder, so you should have created the folder and then before coming here. But if you have not, then you are going to right-click within where you have those listed directories, and then you navigate to new, and then you select folder. So your folder will now be added to the list. Now, every folder is expected to have a unique name in order to differentiate it from other folder. So, and professionally, I would advise you that you should learn to use a descriptive name, a name that describes the kind or the type of content you want to save in, because one thing is to create, another thing later, you might be looking for that particular information. So when you do not use a descriptive name, then it will take longer time for you to be able to locate your file, which is not in any way depicting that you are a professional. So let's assume that our intention is to save our sales inventory. All our transactions will be tracked. Let's assume that we own a supermarket, and every item that is purchased, we would like to record it within Excel worksheet for reference purpose. So since I've already know the type of record I want to create, sales inventory report, so I can say, okay, sales book. I can say sales book. So in other words, inside my sales book, I'll be having what? Sales report. So I have created a folder. Now I need to make sure that the name of this folder, sales book, is what is showing here. That is how I can be sure that I am in the folder I just created before I add the file name. So, but before that, I can decide to say, okay, you just double click on this. Once you double click on that folder, you will notice that the name will appear here. So if you look at the modeling or the file structure, is that you are in document, and inside document you are in sales book, which means that sales book is a direct child of what? Document. So which also means that by tomorrow, if you are looking for the file saved in sales book, you must consult document first before you can see the sales book, before you can see the data. I hope I am making sense. I muted you. You can unmute yourself. I notice There was some background noise, so you can unmute yourself and respond, please. Are you still here?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, once you are sure that you are in the folder, the next step is for you to give your file a unique name. So by default, it came as book 2. That is Excel assumption, because at that point, when Excel was launching the application, Excel does not know the type of data you want to collect. So it just assumed that, okay, let me just give it book 2. Probably you must have opened one book before that will have taken book 1. So now that you have an idea of what you want to do, you delete it. So remember that the main folder is sales book. So this one, I will say what? Let's say what says reports. Okay, now you can decide to password it, which is very necessary, particularly if you are working in an organization. You are expected to password your workbook if that book is holding important or sensitive data, because another person can implicate you because of having access to the workbook without your consent. So how do I take advantage of passwording it even as I am saving the workbook? You click on Tools. So ordinarily you are supposed to select Save, but because you want to assign a password, you hold on for Save and then go to Tools, and then from here you go to General Option, and that will prompt you a text box for you to enter your password. So the same thing, the password you are using, you need to document it somewhere else, and then make sure that you do not use too simple password and not too difficult password so that you do not forget it. So let me just assume, since it's just training, 1, 2, 3 is my password. So you must repeat that same password for confirmation, 1, 2, 3, and then click OK. Now we have an option rather that says read only recommended. So if you encrypt it with this option, it means that if I send you this particular record, you can only view it, you cannot modify it. But if you leave it unchecked, it means you are saying that the file can be edited by the third party that will eventually receive it. So let me leave it this option. Now, when it prompts you this, repeat the same password, 1, 2, 3. Keep repeating the same password until it's accepted. So fine. Now you can click on Save. So finally, we have saved, and you can see that our title bar has updated. Remember, I said the title bar is meant to display the name of the workbook you are using. Okay, now still on the title bar, there is a section there that displays the name of the app, though it is abbreviated to just Excel instead of Microsoft Excel. So that gives us an idea of, oh, we are on what? Excel interface. Then by your right hand side, we have some couple of buttons which you are expected to know their functions. This one, as the name implies, sign in. So if you have a licensed Microsoft account, if you have officially registered with Microsoft, you can sign in here. And then once you sign in, your picture, your profile picture will display to show that you are an authentic user. Now, this button is called Ribbon, and the major work of this button is to control the tabs and their functions. So what do we mean by tabs? All these file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, developer, help, they are all called what? Tabs. So just to bring it down to a beginner level, when we say tab, we are also describing containers or menus of different what functions. Am I communicating, sir? And I hope you are still with me. Let me get a response.
Yes.
Okay. So now, let's quickly play around the function. Since I said that the ribbon is used to control the tab, and we have identified what are tabs. Home, insert, they are tab. And if you notice, each of these tabs, they are like different containers with different what command as content. So as soon as I move from home, you can see that what the content has changed. So if I click on insert, these are different content. If I go to page layout, these are different content. And one good thing you should know at this point is that the commands are not repeated. There is no single command that is currently displaying under page layout that you can find outside it, except through shortcuts. So the message I am passing to you here is that do not think that if you do not focus to understand what you have here, there is another tab where you probably see the no. Each of the tabs carry different what function. Okay. Now, since you understand how the tabs work, let's go back to the tab button. So if I click here, I am given 3 options. So here I am trying to demonstrate or qualify the definition that ribbon helps us to control the tabs. Now, what we have right now, the tabs are shown. So if I click on auto hide, watch what happened. All the tabs has gone. So I have been able to remove them. Now, if I go back to that same button, I am going to see other 2 options. So I need to know when to use this option and when to use this option. Now, using this option means you just want to see the tabs. The implication is that, for example, once I click here and I want to increase the size of this entry, then I have to consult Home tab. It will bring out the content. I'll from here bold it, for example, and then I want to give it color, let's say here, and then I want to increase the size, I will increase it. Now, after I have achieved this, the moment I click outside, those commands what collapse back into what the home. So as a user of this app, I see it's stressful. Each time I am done with using a function, everything goes back or fold or wrap back into what the initial selected tab. So I want it in a way that even though I am out, I want to be seeing all this. Not when I click outside, they disappear, and then I have to come here to display them because I want to use another command. That is like stressful to me. So why that is happening? Because we choose what this option that says what show ribbon tabs only, not with their command. So this is the right option. So you see that even if you step out from after using a function, for example, now I want to increase this, or I want to bold it, I want to change the writing style. Let's say I change it, and I want to also increase it by clicking here. Now I step out and I remember that, oh, I want to give it color. Ordinarily, if not that we have used this method, then it will have led to coming to home, then in order for us to see further instruction. So that is the function of this for controlling the tabs and their properties or command. Then the next one is called minimize. The word minimize in computing means what? To take off the current interface temporarily, not closing it. So if I click here, what happens? A cell goes off. And now I have switched to PowerPoint. Then PowerPoint also has it. If I click here now, then I have also left that interface. Now I have switched to what? Microsoft Windows. Unfortunately, Microsoft Windows does not have the minimize, because Microsoft Windows is not an application. It is the operating system, the main software that governs or control the computer operation. So now if I want to bring back the Excel, that is why we have the taskbar. I want you to pay attention, because after some time I will pause and examine you on what I have explained so far. So I hope you are following. So the whole of this section I'm navigating at is an element of the Microsoft window, not Word, not Excel. So this is not accredited to what Excel. This is a default section that once you open an application, the application inherits it. Why? Because there are important operations that can be performed on that section. For example, you can see the logo of the app that we are currently running. That is why it is called the task bar, which means that what all the tasks, the applications that are running, you can resume them here. Now, if I want to bring back Excel, I don't have to go through start what? Opening it afresh, because I only minimized the other time. So with that in mind, I know, oh, I can access it from the taskbar by just hovering on the icon and then clicking, and that will bring it back. So that is the function of this. So in case you want to switch from one app to another, when you have multiple apps open on your system, this is the right button, and then you should also learn how to resume it from the taskbar. I hope that is clear, sir. Can I get a response?
Yeah.
Is everything going well?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let me explain the second,
Yes.
the third one. Let me
It's going well.
explain. Yeah, let me explain the third one. The third one is this. Now, if you look at that button I am touching, there are two boxes, which means that what? 2 in 1. So the first clicking will give us a function called restore. Now, restore is a computer term that says that what? Reduce the current application environment or interface. And what is the practical impact of that? The practical impact of it is that it allows you to view multiple interfaces. How do I know? Currently, I am viewing part of Excel, and I'm also viewing part of Microsoft Windows, and even part of what? The Zoom app. Now, but if I go back to that same place that I click, it will have switched to the other function, which means what? Maximize. So maximize is another computer term that means let one application cover the entire screen. So if I click here now, you see that is the practical impact of it. So you as a computer user, you should be familiar with this term. These are what prove that you are a computer literate. When somebody is using the term minimize, when you are working in an office and somebody, or maybe your boss walks in and says, please, can you minimize this app? Can you maximize this app? Can you close this app? These are terms every user of application should know, irrespective of the application, because it's almost the same across most, or let's say 90% application comes with these buttons that I'm explaining. Now, the last one is close, which means that you are about to take off the application from the screen, not to store it within the taskbar. So the advice I have for you is that if you have not updated, if you have not saved your entry, if you click here, you have no problem. Your work is still intact because you can easily come here and bring it back. If you have not saved, you have no problem clicking here. But if you have not saved, if you click here, just forget about it. Just forget about it. It means that all this that you have entered or computed, they only exist in the random access memory of the system, which is known as volatile storage. So if you go and study a general introduction to computer, you understand the difference between RAM and ROM. So one is a temporary storage, while the other one is a permanent storage. Okay, so I don't want to go into that because this is pure Excel training. So I believe I have done justice to the application title bar. So I want to explain the next section. Remember I said the whole of this section, I have dedicated it for us familiarizing ourselves, understanding our Microsoft Excel interface structure, because it plays a major role. By the time I start computing or teaching you data entry, probably in our next class, you will not develop certain confidence whenever you are working on Excel inter, because somebody have explained, somebody have broken each of the part down and must have pointed out their respective functions. So you no longer be afraid of them. That is what I want to achieve. So let's quickly dive into the next section, the next feature. The next feature. Remember, the topic that's generated all this that I'm explaining is called Microsoft Excel Window Features Identification. Okay, so that is the end of the title bar. Let's quickly identify another section that makes up Excel window. Now, the whole of this part I'm navigating at. Your title bar stops here. So this is a different part. And this section, it is called the standard toolbar. Standard what? Toolbar. It is called the standard toolbar. So how do we explain it? The standard toolbar constitutes command shortcuts. So this is where, as a user of Excel, should program some of those commands you use often, their icon. Let me prove it. For example, this icon represents save, and the shortcut is by combining Control button and what's the S. Now, it means that if I want to, let's say I type Prosper, I should know that this Prosper only exists within the RAM, random access memory. And the random access memory is only a temporary storage. Once I switch off this application now and I turn off the computer and I open this file tomorrow, I am not going to find this, but I will find this because they have been committed into the permanent storage sector. But how do I acknowledge, how do I update this particular file? Is by coming to this icon and just click once. So you notice that there was a kind of a loading. So which means that you have added this to where you store this initially. Okay, now if I add more now, let's say I type Digitech Zeal Hub. So by the way, the platform that is offering you this training is called Digitech Hub. So our work is that we train people online, just like you are watching this now. Now, if I close this application, I'm not going to see this. So if I want to update it, and ordinarily, if not that I've programmed this here, this is where I will remove it. Let me remove that one. Let's assume that you want to quickly update this. But right now, you can't find the shortcut representing it on the standard toolbar. You can also achieve it by going through the log process, going through file, and then selecting what? Save. So what I am driving at is this. Now, if I know that save is the command I use often, there is no point of me going through file before selecting. Why don't I just create the shortcut on the standard toolbar? Because that is the role of it. So I will just come here and customize it back. So which means that the next time I want to save, if I update my record, instead of me coming to file and selecting save, I now have an icon representing that function. That is how all these are representing different commands. This is representing open. So if I remove it from here now, and I want to open my previous data, then since I can't find the icon here, the direct way is for you to go to File, and then go to what? Open, and then you look for the name of the file, and then it's open. Now, why don't I create the shortcut there? So that when next I want to open my previous file, I will just go to click here, sharp, and then access it instead of me going through what? File. So all these are shortcut. This is shortcut for printing, for page setup. So instead of me coming to File and then going to print, or I can check, I can see page setup. You can see that you have the shortcut right here. So that is how those shortcuts can actually help you in accessing command faster. Now let's look at it from this angle. What about if probably your Excel, I'm very sure that the Excel you must have opened do not have all this. So that means that I need to show you how I programmed it, because they are programmable. There are things you can remove, there are things you can add, depending on how you prioritize their function. So I'm going to start by removing all of them and show you how you can bring them back. So in case you are given a system where none of these often used features have been activated, how do you manually on your own bring them? Now you can see that these two that are here were not added here. That is why they are not there. I have to go to what? More command, and then select them, select remove, click on this, select remove, and then click OK. So it is possible that you are given a system to manage, and then you find it just having the customizer. So how do you start bringing them? You ask yourself, which of these functions I cannot do without each time I use a cell? That should be the factor. You shouldn't just compile this place with unnecessary function. So I'll say, oh, there's no way I work with a cell that I will not open my previous data, because I will not always start a project and finish it. So let me click here. So I have it here. Okay, there's no way I work here that I will not save. Okay, let me also add this. Is one of the often used feature. Okay, now we have redo. In case you make mistake, you can return to the corrected version. And then in case you want to program for printing your work, you can put the quick print icon there. So peradventure, there are some commands that you feel that should be here, but they are not here because they are not listed among the prioritized ones by Excel. Excel has given you an option where you can reach out to them. So you come to more command, and then from here you see the compilation of almost all the functions in Excel that you need probably to work on maybe modifying your entries. So let's assume that this particular create chart wasn't there. So all you need is just to click on it and then migrate it to the added list by clicking on what? Add. Then if I also want this one, let's say each time I want to delete row, I want a function to be there, and then you add it. So in case you want to remove, I think I've explained that before, you just tap it and then you click on remove. Then when you are done adding the ones you want to add, you can now click OK. Okay, so once you click OK, you see all the commands here. Are you joining with your computer? Because I want you to share your screen and ask you to perform some tasks for me.
With my computer.
Okay, so share your, hope you know how to share your screen. Share your screen. I've enabled you to share your screen. Please go ahead and share your screen. There is a button called share there. Just click on it. Have you find it?
Click share.
Okay, it's coming up. So open Excel, open Microsoft Excel. I thought you said you have opened it before. Open Microsoft Excel. Okay, just bring up any one of the copy. Just over on one and click on it. I can see that you have opened so many tabs. Just click on one. Just click on one, not removing it. Click on one of the space. Just over on the Excel icon back. Go back to the way you selected it before.
I'll click.
I can't see
I'll
Microsoft
click on
Excel.
it.
I can't
So
see Microsoft Excel on your screen yet. Maybe it's coming up. Can you hear me?
you still can't see it.
Now click on one of, not the
All of
icon,
this
click
space
on the
that I
space.
am
Click
now.
on the space. You can
Four.
see the smaller view of each of them that you have opened. Just click inside, not the icon. Come down and click inside. Are you still here? Hope you can hear me now.
I'm still here. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, so your screen is coming up now. Let me see. Fine, good. I think I'm on you now. Okay, so now this is what I want you to do for me, please. I want you to remove all those the shortcuts that are there already and bring them up just like I did quickly. Remember the tab I selected.
Blocking. There's something blocking it up here.
You can remove it now. You can click
I don't know
and
how to
drag.
remove it. Though.
Click and drag on one of the. Just hold down the left button and drag. Let me see if it's going to take Excel away from that. Click and drag and remove it. Okay, let's do it this way. If you are still with me, let's do it this way. Move closer to where you have that pink, that yellow, pink something, that where you have that sign of, I think it's showing your ID. Are you seeing it? By your right hand side, where you
Where showing
have
my
that,
ID.
where you have that pink color now, the round, the cycle pink. I'm seeing, don't touch it too.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
touch it. Just move
Okay.
away. Just move away
Okay.
from it a little to your right. Good. Oh yeah, hold down the left button and drag. Hold down the left button and drag. It's not moving. Okay. What is actually covering it? Could it be your Zoom? Close this app. Close all this that you opened before. Let's see whether maybe it could be one of these that is covering it. So close this particular interface I'm seeing right here now. This is how to use Zoom, whatever. Close it, or you can minimize it as well. Click on that minimize, let it go off from the screen so that we can be able to know what that section is. Don't know if you are hearing me. Click on
I'm hearing you.
do what I'm asking you to do now. Have you done that? Close all these things. Close all these things.
No, I've not done
Not to minimize this, right? You want to do this one too?
Close them. I just want to know what will remain on the screen outside the Zoom app. Yes, I'm waiting. Are you on it? There is an option you need to
Yeah.
attend to. I just want to know. There is something that is showing accept cookie. Good. Now, go back to Excel. Go back to Excel now. Let's see. Go back to Excel. Go back to Excel. Go back to Excel. Have you closed Excel? Go back to Excel. What is happening? Is it coming up?
Is it okay now?
I can't see. Okay, it just came up now. Wait. Are you running a cloud Excel or a locally installed one?
I just enter one book of the Excel now.
Wait, did you install it in your system or you are running it from the cloud? I don't know what could have led to that. Okay, but what I'm asking you to do,
I don't
eh,
know what I say locally installed.
what I am asking you to do, you can still do it because that particular session is not covering it.
I think I went through it and through YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I need to be sure that you are able to solve this problem. Can you close the Excel and try opening it again so that I can monitor the process you went through?
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Close the Excel. Can you close it, please? Click on the close button that I was explaining the other time.
Start up here, I'll straight line.
You are waiting. Close Excel. You should know how to close. I've explained close button.